had a TikTok where I showed like, where do you go to the bathroom on a private plane? And it got, I think, 1.5 million views on TikTok, which for me was like insane at the time. But we didn't get one lead, one call, or one sale. Most people just focus on views, but you need to focus on making sure that the content you're creating is attracting the right people that you want. Your content is a product. People are paying you with their time, and then people are judging how good you are and how much you know based off of how good the quality of the content is. For me, I get so excited to make YouTube videos now because I know every YouTube video I make leads directly into our product suite. We're just focused on getting more people to watch our YouTube videos. If we can get more people to watch our YouTube videos, then we're gonna make more money. Simple as that. Our goal is to get to a $100 million company in the next 3 years. So I'd like to be a billionaire at some point in my life, but if it happens, it does. If it doesn't, I really take care of that.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the On the Pursuit podcast, where we interview 6, 7, 8, even 9-figure entrepreneurs. Today's very special. Back in Miami, I happen to have somebody, I feel like he's my friend already. Are we friends?
Yeah, I'd say we're friends.
You know what I'm saying? So listen, this dude is someone that I've been following for quite a while. And before I learned about this funnel that he created, I would say, well, I don't know if you created it, but I feel like I learned about it from you, right? Where it's all really based on the time that you spend with someone without really having to spend with them. That's what made me be, I feel like, ingratiated to you in the first place. So this individual created that. I consumed hours of his content, and the next thing I know, I was investing in myself with one of his products and services. So Ravi Abuvala, welcome to the podcast, man.
Yo, thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
And you put up in the motorcycle, bro.
Yeah, I did. It's funny. Like, we did that intro shot. I literally just got it delivered 3 days ago.
Oh, so that's new.
Yeah, I was like, when you were like, yo, let's do an intro shot. You should. I was like, inside, I was stoked. I was like, yes, this is exactly why I bought it, and it's why I put it on my business card. So, you know, this now justifies it.
Have you had a bike prior?
No, I actually haven't had a bike prior. I had a plane. So I obviously driver's license. Then about 2 years ago, got my pilot's license, bought a plane. And then I just, like, every few years I get a little antsy. I want to do something new. So I got my bike in December, but then I put about $10,000 worth of custom, like, mods and everything to make it my own. And so it's been worked on from December until now, which is literally end of April. And I just got it delivered literally 3 days ago.
So were you riding bikes prior, or this literally
this is the first bike I've ever.
First bike, and you just got the license and everything?
Yeah, exactly. Literally sight unseen, got the license. I literally was at the DMV yesterday for like 2 hours getting my registration for it. And so when I pulled up, you're like, oh, let's get a shot. I was like, I hope I don't fuck this up.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So I used to have a bike, man. So I had a bike from like 06 to 08.
Nice.
I was the only one of my friends that had a bike. So I was riding by myself, meeting people. Very freeing experience. You know, oddly enough, I feel like you can think a lot.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So you got some time to kind of think and process. And then when I sold it a couple of years later, then my friends got bikes. You know what I'm saying? I don't got one. They got one. They doing rides together. But I haven't had a bike since 2008. So it's been a while.
So just like a plane as well, like when I'm flying my plane, that's a lot of really great time to think as well. And but it's interesting. It's like, it's time to think, but it's also pretty active as well. And so, like, with the reason I got my plane originally was because I wanted something that was not business and not working out, because that was like my entire life was just those two things. But I still wanted to be like challenged. I wanted something to like, because if I'm literally doing anything and I'm not like really engaging my brain, I will instantly start going into business thinking. I might even start creating problems in my head. So with a bike or a plane, you kind of got to be like focused on the road, where you're at, what you're doing, or obviously in the skies. And so like you nailed it. I kind of feel that same. It's almost like a little bit of form of meditation on the bike that I have on the plane as well.
So basically, you're saying I should get another bike then?
I was thinking, especially if you're moving to Miami, dude. Then we can come down here.
And we got to ride together or something, man. That's crazy. put a little gang together.
That's what I'm saying.
So listen, I have a lot of content creators and podcasters that are tuned into my content, and my message is to help to monetize without brand deal sponsorships or having a large audience, because I know it's possible, because my podcast is a 6-figure podcast. I haven't built businesses in other verticals off of having a show. So a lot of the messaging that you put out, like, I just vibe with it because I understand it, right? So could we just talk a little bit about just like content in general, maybe different ways of how we can monetize that content, and then like how they can use the content to maybe lead them to offers and things like that.
Yeah. I like to break things down into first principles, like as simple as possible.
Yeah.
So like in first principles, the more people that know you in general, as long as you're not doing terrible things, the more money you'll make. That's like as basic as you can get.
So exposure. The more people that know you,
Exactly.
the more people can flow you.
Exactly. You nailed it. That's exactly what it is. So the more people that know you, the more people that flow you. I like, is that your saying?
That's my boy's saying. Shout out to Dion.
Okay, cool. I like
So
that. I was like,
Dion.
I might steal that, but
Yeah,
all right,
you
I
can
won't
use
steal-
it,
I
though.
won't steal
You can use it.
All right, so 100%. That's it. So what happens is a lot of people, they create content, but they don't create content with the idea of monetizing it, right? And that might be a few people that listen to this podcast as well right now. It's like you've created this podcast or this YouTube channel and you've been making this content, and maybe your actually primary focus is just getting more views. But like you and I were just talking about before screen here, the issue with just more views is that you might maybe get a brand deal, but it's not going to be a lot of money, in all honesty. But if you're creating content with the idea of I want to get more views, but also I want to monetize it, then without a whole lot of views, without a whole lot of work on the content, you can actually start cashing it in on the back end through monetization vehicles, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. So first principles is like the more people that know you, the more people that will flow you, the more money you'll make. But you don't want the wrong people to know you,
Gotcha.
right? And that is a mistake I've made. And I actually talked about this in one of my YouTube videos, but back when I was still trying to figure out the content game, like I was hiring people that worked with Mr. Beast. Like I was spending tens of thousands of dollars on consultants on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all that stuff. And they were telling me like, hey, you need to make this viral thing here and this thing here. And so I still remember to this day, I had a TikTok where I showed like, where do you go to the bathroom on a private plane? And so it was me and my plane I was showing it. And I got, I think 1.5 million views on TikTok, which for me was like insane at the time. But we have like links and we can track where sales come from. We didn't get one lead, one call, or one sale.
Because those are the wrong people.
Because it was the wrong, it was people that are interested on a bathroom on a plane, not interested in scaling their business. You know what I mean? So most people just focus on views, but you need to focus on making sure that the content you're creating is attracting the right people that you want. And so
magnetic content.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, even if you do it right, it should repel people that you don't want. Yeah. And a great example of this is if you actually look at my YouTube over the past, let's say 18 months, I'd say about 18 months ago, a lot of my videos were on software, cold email, cold outbound, et cetera, et cetera. And those views would get put in YouTube search results and they would start ranking. And I still get views today to like ClickUp videos, LinkedIn videos. I'm like #1 if you type in how to use ClickUp. But the problem with that is that those people aren't necessarily my ideal clients, right? So I'm getting a lot of views and that's great, but they're not my ideal clients. And then if you look over time, what happened is as I started getting feedback from my sales team and I look at the clients that I work with, they usually fall in the bucket of they're already running ads or they're already creating content online, right? And so I realized that by creating cold email videos, I was getting a lot of views, but I wasn't attracting the people that were going to buy from us. And we were getting a lot of calls from cold emails, but we weren't getting a lot of sales from people that watch these cold email videos. So you can literally see, if people go on my YouTube, a progression, and you'll also see a lot of these newer videos have a lot less views than my older videos did because the algorithm kind of is favoring me a little bit more for, like if I did a video tomorrow on how to use LinkedIn Sales Navigator, it would pop off, no problem, right? But those aren't the people that I want to attract anymore. So now all my videos are more about like how to run, what it's like managing thousands of clients, how to create a content creation system, the self-sustaining funnel, what you were talking about a little bit earlier that I created. And so those have much less views, but now we have the analytics that show that those are bringing higher quality clients. So more views, but the right people you need to be attracting with your content. And so now I'm even throwing rocks against cold email. I'm saying like, hey, don't do cold email. You should do ads or the self-sustaining funnel instead. And then we can get into monetization vehicles if you want me to as well, or
of course, man.
Okay. All right, just making sure. Yeah.
Listen, of course.
So like we had talked about earlier about also brand deals and like views and AdSense. And the truth is that while that stuff can make you a little bit of money, once again, now you're going to be probably creating content that's good for views or that's good for that brand instead of creating content that's good for you and good for your business. And if you're watching this and you don't even have a business right now, then you can just start thinking of like, okay, what's content that I'm already making that I can kind of funnel into either a low ticket community, which is what we have. It's called Scaling School, $97 a month, or a high ticket product as well, right? Something that's $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. And I actually have a little bit of a blend of both. I have a low ticket community and membership site, which we launched in February. It's doing very well. And then I have the high ticket that I've had for the past few years.
Is your revenue stuck? If you're an entrepreneur and your revenue is stuck, you don't need to fix your products or services. You need new audiences to discover you more consistently. Podcast guesting is the ideal way to be discovered 24 hours a day by your ideal clients. And guess what? The more people that know you, the more people can flow you. Head over to podcastmasterypack.com and take advantage of your first or next podcast. Let's go.
So the low ticket community,
Yeah.
$99 a month. So this is one of the foundational 4. So I teach podcasters how to monetize, right? And there's a lot of different ways they can monetize, but I believe they only need the foundational 4. So one of the foundational 4 is the community, right? And the reason why I say that is because the community is something that's recurring, right? And in my opinion, I've heard like Russell say this, and I think I even heard Hormozy say this, and you don't really have a business if you don't have recurring revenue, right? But the community revenue, you can predict and you can depend on, right? And you mentioned like flying, so we talk about the plane. So I always use this analogy, right? When I talk about community. So you got a plane, there's economy seats, and then there's first class. So if let's say I want to pull up a podcast that you was on. I can go to Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. That's economy, right? That's the majority of everybody, right? You're sitting in the middle. It takes you long to get on the plane, get off the plane. Flight attendants take forever to bring you your stuff. It's not the best way to experience flying, just like the podcast. Like I can easily do that, right?
Sure.
But the first class, right? Get on first, get off first, pillow, blanket, headphones, maybe you'll get a drink. You might meet the captain. That's the community, right? That's the gated. Because there, even if you're a podcaster or a content creator, you can put exclusives in there. You can give different access. And that's what people want, right? People want to be in the community. They want to have access. They want to have resources. So if you do create content, you can put those additional resources, and they don't even have to be a certain type. It can literally be like, you can like poll your audience. What do they want? What do they like? What would be a better experience? Put that in the gated community, and you can get a couple of those people, and then obviously grow that to you have. So how important is a offer like that, and what has having a low ticket funnel done for your business?
Yeah, it's an awesome question. So you nailed it. I read a book about 6 months ago where they talked about if you don't have recurring revenue, you have a promotion, you don't have a business, right? And you
got a promotion, that's even worse.
Which is terrible. You're always on what I call a revenue roller coaster, right? And you get a client, then you service the client, you lose the client, you're back up to getting a client again. And you can do that at a very high level. I made multiple 8 figures doing exactly that. So it's like you can definitely make money with it.
Yeah.
But it's funny because when I read that, and then a few other things kind of happened in the beginning of this year, almost this like perfect blend of things. And I was like, I think I'm ready to launch a membership site, a low ticket community for $97 a month. And we launched it in February, end of February, early March. And we're almost at, I think, about 78 or 79K MRR with the membership site that we launched. And it's pretty insane because before that, I've had no recurring revenue in my business. But like,
so you're talking about 80K off the community?
Exactly, off the community.
Off a month. All right.
Yeah. So we launched it at end of February, early March, and as of right now, I think we're somewhere between $70,000 and $80,000 in monthly recurring revenue. And to be honest, I'm not trying to sell you guys anything right now. It was way easier than I thought it was going to be. It really was. And I think it's because, I know it's because I had all this organic content. And before, I had all this organic content, which I've over 900 videos on YouTube. And then the only other way somebody could work with me was by spending $15,000 minimum. So it was like free, $15,000. So there was this huge gap of people that couldn't afford $15,000, or maybe they could afford $15,000, but they just wanted to see if I was the real deal first before they got in there. And so by creating this little mini jump from free into $97 a month, even if it's $7 a month, $47 a month, by doing that, I was able to actually start monetizing some of that huge amount of value that I was providing in the marketplace. And it's been incredible because now it's almost like, I actually say this in a video on my YouTube channel, but I get more excited when I see a new $97 payment come in than I do when I see a $50K wire hit for one of our back-end masterminds, because I know that it's recurring.
I know that same way.
I know that I don't have to get on a sales call for it. I know that I won't have to get on coaching calls for it. I know that I won't have to like go back and forth in Slack for it. Like, I know that if they ask for a refund or whatever, it's like not going to be I'm like, all right, here's $97. It's not like I invested all this time, energy, and effort inside of it again. And so we absolutely love it. And it's interesting you talked about, I love that reference to economy and first class, because the way that I see it, one of the best videos I think I've ever made for my clients, it's called Creating a Product Suite. It's like an hour and 20 minutes, and I created it after we launched the membership site. And so a product suite, if you don't know, is essentially like all the products that you sell underneath your umbrella. And I know you said that you've had your podcast been able to launch multiple six-figure businesses for you, which is epic. And so a product suite should be, one product should be leading to the next product, right? A lot of people don't realize this, but in a true product suite, if you're a content creator, your content is a product. That people are judging you. They're paying you with their time, maybe not money, but they're paying you with their time. And then people are judging how good you are and how much you know based off of how good the quality of the content is, which is the exact same thing as a low-ticket product or a high-ticket product, et cetera, et cetera. So most people half-ass the content and maybe put the best stuff behind closed doors, when in reality, they really need to put the best stuff up front and the best stuff behind closed doors. And what I've learned is that, so we give our clients this Google Sheet, and you can actually put the different elements of what people get at each product. Because what a lot of people will do is they'll cannibalize, which if you don't know what that means, it means that you'll eat into your other offers by creating lower ticket offers or by putting free content out there. And so you need to decide very early on, what am I going to have for free? What's going to be included in this $97 one? What's going to be included in the 5K one, the 15K, the 50K, before you do any launching or any promotion or anything like that. And so the easiest thing I think for people to remember is that in a great product suite, in my opinion, you're pretty much just increasing the level of supports or access that people are going through there. So free contents, I love when people comment and view my stuff for sure, but like I really owe them nothing. Technically, they haven't paid me money, right? I'm giving them free stuff, so I owe them.
They actually owe you something.
Yeah, technically, that's law of reciprocity.
You're like, yo, listen, I'm giving.
Exactly. People will get a little upset that I say that because they're like, you gotta love your audience, which I love my audience, but I'm saying like as far as like the things I'm gonna do for them, right? I'm already providing the content. And so then with the community, the $97 a month, they get access to more gated content, but they also get a coaching call. They get the ability to ask questions inside of there. The ability to give feedback. They get access to like we call them member makeover calls where I analyze people's business. And then in the high ticket, we start doing done for you stuff with you, right? We do more personalized one-on-one work. We'll create you a custom roadmap, all of that stuff. So identifying before you even start, like, okay, if you're gonna do the membership site, which I think is awesome, I think it's great that you're telling your clients to do that. I think that's perfect. But in my opinion, what you don't want to do is like, okay, let me over deliver for these $97 a month people. Let me give away everything. Let me do an onboarding call for them. Let me do 6 coaching calls a week. Because then what will very likely happen is that, in my opinion, a membership site's amazing, but the reason why most SaaS companies, software companies, take on outside funding is because it is very difficult to scale a $97 a month, $47 a month if you're trying to make a lot of money really quickly, because you usually got to pay money on ads and people. And so you do want to have the ability to have some kind of high ticket element, I think, on the back end eventually, right? And you don't even have to purposely come in and do it. People will organically be like, yo, how do I work with you further? Like, I've really loved talking to you. I love this membership site. How do I work with you one-on-one? So when it comes to product suites and doing this, before you launch the membership site, think, okay, I'm going to include this in the membership site, but what am I holding back that is going to be, if they want access to me on a one-on-one, whatever, that I can charge $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 for?
Man, listen, I don't know if y'all, first of all, thank you for that. I don't know if y'all really like understand, and maybe it might take you a little bit to kind of digest it, because sometimes you don't get things right away. But Ravi just showed you how to make 10K a month easy with that, So all my content creators out there, podcasters out there, you definitely need one of these elements, which would be a membership site, to be one of your foundation for. So when it comes to like just monetizing content in general,
sure.
And let's kind of keep it with low ticket at the moment.
Okay.
What are like some of the other things that they can do to monetize low ticket, right? So we have the membership site.
Yeah.
Right. So what else can we do?
Yeah. So membership site's one thing. And going back to the product suite, I think another really powerful things are what's called low ticket products, like one-off products. And the nice thing about content creators, so I come from an advertising background. And so we spend millions of dollars a year on ads. And so for me, anytime I sell something for less than $97, I'm almost always not making money on it because I have to pay for people to acquire it, and I'm making more money down the road. When it comes to organic content, like what I'm realizing with this membership site and having all this organic content online is that like I'm making this content, and then every day we're getting all these people that are buying my low ticket stuff that I'm not having to run ads to. It's just because they're watching my YouTube videos and then they're buying my stuff. So that's pure profit, right? So it's incredible for growing a business and taking money home and having freedom, which is why we're all here, I would imagine, in the first place. But the other element of, so the only downside I would say of membership sites is that a lot of people don't necessarily want to sign up for a recurring thing, right? There's some people, they know they put the credit card down. In order to cancel, they're probably have to jump through all these loopholes and send this message, blah, blah, blah. And so I know that a lot of people are skeptical about putting the $97 down. And so the other way that you can monetize is by having a low ticket. Now, to me, low ticket could really be anything from $97 all the way up to $19.97, right? For a lot of content creators, the really great thing is that going back to first principles, in order to make money, you need to have views. In order to make money, you need to have those views trust you. One of the best ways to get trust is exposure, right? So if people have watched 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 hours of your content, you could probably say, hey, I'm launching this new course for $2,000. DM me this word and I'll send you the link. And you could probably sell plenty of them right then and there without a sales page, without a video sales letter, without a webinar, without a sales call, because there's so much trust already built up with these people. So I think that low ticket products, anywhere from $7 to $19.97 one-off, is a great way to also monetize your audience, because the nice thing about that is that you can, for example, we have a $37 product called Show Up Secrets, right?
And that's just a one-off.
That's a one-off. Okay. They buy it, and it's literally just this one training on how do you increase your show up rate, how we doubled ours in 30 days. And it's just like 7-part system. And so we sell that, and people send it to other people all the time. And like we get a bunch of referrals that come in from it. And that is a one-off thing. But the nice thing is that course is actually pulled from our $15,000 program. So it's incredibly valuable.
So you repurposed it?
Exactly. I just pulled out one small part of the big program and I put it inside this one course. And so it's really, some could argue it's like thousands of dollars worth of value that people are paying $37 for, right? So when you're making the low ticket products, you just need to make sure there's this huge discrepancy between what you're charging and how much people. So if you charge $37, it should be worth $3,700. If you charge $2,000, it should be worth $20,000. And so people listen to this, they might be like, I don't know if I can sell something for $5,000 or $10,000. I don't know if it would be valuable enough. So that's fine. Sell something for $100, make it worth $1,000. And a little hack or a secret, if anybody here actually goes through my Show Up Secrets funnel, the one-off Show Up Secrets is great, the one low ticket product, but actually as soon as you purchase it on the next page, we try to sell them into the membership site.
So you're gonna upsell them?
I upsell them on the next page. I say, great, you just got one piece of it. If you want all the playbooks we've used to scale to over $25 million, then you can click the button right here and you'll be charged $97 a month. And we have a 20% take rate on that. So 20% of the people that buy the low ticket end up getting the community. So we're still, it's like that's what a product suite is. It's like low ticket. I know people listen to podcasts, but it's like free content on the far left-hand side, then a low ticket product to get their foot in the door. They're not ready to commit to a monthly recurring. Then they're, okay, wow, this is legit. Let me buy the monthly recurring. There's also links inside of the low ticket to buy the monthly recurring. And then when the monthly recurring, what we'd like is for people to get a lot of value from that. And then they say, what would it be like to work with Ravi's whole team more on a one-on-one basis? And then they buy the higher ticket prices or products.
So that's like the IKEA funnel.
Exactly. Yeah.
One way in.
Yeah.
One way out.
That's exactly what it is.
But okay, so so I want to kind of like open this up, right? So you basically pulled that 37 worth 3,700 from the high ticket.
Exactly.
What do you think about this? Podcasters have all this content, right? Let's say 50 episodes, 100 episodes, never monetized. Content creators have all this content on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, never monetized. Or maybe they make some money, but it's not from the content, right? Or it's not directly from the podcast. So how about this? Think about, let's say I had you on the show, right? And I'm a podcaster. I got 100 episodes. Maybe Ravi was episode 42. I'm listening to this podcast. What if I go back to episode 42 and I pull out some secrets that Ravi shared on the podcast? I make that a digital product, and then I now start offering that through my podcast. So now I'm repurposing the content, right, that the guest shared with me that happened maybe 4 months ago that I'm not even using anymore. Because what most content creators do is they'll have the pod or the show and make the content, and then that's it. They don't touch it again. They don't really repurpose it. They're not pulling things from it. Or maybe you pull like 3 things I learned from Ravi. Maybe 3 things I learned from Ryan Pineda if he was on the show, or whomever was on the show, and you put that into an asset. you're still repurposing, and then the podcast can now start, marketing that product for you through like, commercials or links in the description or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's an awesome idea. So for me, one of the main words in my life is leverage, right? So I'm always trying to figure out how can I do something one time and just get an infinite amount of results from it. So the repurposing, the content, the podcast, all of that, I'm a huge fan of. Going back to the product suite, you just need to be aware of like, okay, first of all, and I've seen this with a lot of people, like a lot of people get these huge audiences and then they have no idea what to sell them.
Yeah.
And so they sell them like a random thing that they think everybody's going to buy, like a t-shirt or merch. And there's nothing against merch or t-shirts by any means.
No. Nobody wants your merch or t-shirt.
No, but it's not like it's going to be very difficult to scale a brand on that. And there's logistics and all that. So I'm a huge fan of digital products. But what you do want to make sure is that whatever people are coming to you for, there is a bridge, there is a gap, between that and what the digital product is. So, you doing the secrets things makes a lot of sense in your podcast if you're having a lot of people come here and talk about like scaling and businesses and content creation, all that stuff, right? I love that idea. Some other people will have just like random successful people on their podcast. And so it might be difficult to be like this one guy comes on and you're going to say, oh, I'm going to give you the secrets to this one person, because that might not be applicable to your entire audience. One thing I will say is that going back to the product suite and the cannibalization of your free content, the paid content, et cetera, why do people pay? They pay for faster results. They pay for like immediate results almost. So instead of like, the 3 things that you pulled as a secret from inside of here, which is not a bad idea. What I might do instead is like, whenever you were like sending me an invite for this podcast, you're like, great, podcast is going to be an hour long. And then I want to book 30 more minutes of your time afterwards where we can do a little masterclass just for our paid people. And so what can happen is, let's say we're talking about this product suite. We're talking about a lot right here. You could, at the beginning, you could know that you're going to have this thing at the end of the podcast. And then depending on how the conversation went, you can make a call to action at the end of the podcast and say, hey guys, if you want, Ravi's talked a lot about the product suite. He agreed to sit down with me for 30 minutes and show me exactly that product sheet that he was talking about. And he's going to give it to you guys inside my paid community, blah, blah, blah.
Hell yeah.
All you have to go down is go down below and check it out. Yep. And now it's the people that are watching the podcast, they're not upset. The people that are free content, because we had this great conversation about it. And then the people that want this faster and quicker, et cetera, they're willing to pay the $37, $97 a month and get access to that immediately. So everybody wins in that. And really what they're paying for is more support or like faster results.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to give you one on that. Hey, listen, if you're looking to grow your podcast business or you're looking to leverage podcasts to grow your business, you want to tap in to the Podcast to Profits Academy. We're going to teach you exactly what it takes for you to get more exposure to grow and scale your business or leverage podcasts so you can do more revenue. What you want to do is head over to podcast2profits.com and apply to work with me and a member of my team. So now we're talking about like, okay, if you are a creator and let's say you do interviews, right? Or you have a podcast, whatever it is. Now when you go out to reach out to your guests, you can now do it with intention, right? And say, hey, listen, we're gonna shoot a podcast. It's gonna be about 60 minutes or whatever. I'm gonna shoot 45 of it. Would you mind if we take 10 minutes and maybe you share something or break something down that we don't include the podcast?
Exactly.
Generally, that guest is not gonna have a problem with that. But even if they was like, yeah, I'm down, but it'll be, a couple extra dollars.
A little money.
It's still worth it because that gated content you own, now it's yours, and you can repurpose that. So Ravi talked about digital products. We talked about putting it into the paid community or the membership site, whatever the case may be. And now you own it, so you can repurpose it. Maybe he went so crazy, you can put it out on ads, or you can repurpose it later, or you could turn it into an ebook or something. It's just a lot of things you can do. I really like that idea, and I think that is 100% going to give like creators or hosts or podcasters another idea when it comes to like booking their guests on.
Yeah, you should just always be thinking like, if you're a content creator, everyone should always be thinking, how am I going to monetize this, right? So you need to be thinking from the beginning, how am I mean, every good content creator, even when I pulled up in the motorcycle and you were like, all right, say these, introduce yourself and then like say these things so that they like stay on to the end. Like we were two content creators. You and I both knew that there needed to be like a hook involved in order to get so we're like talking each other's language here. So if you talk to another content creator you're going to have on the podcast, they're going to get what you're trying to do here. No one's going to be upset by it. And if you're the one that's interviewing people, if I was just listening to this podcast, I would be like, okay, what was a nugget that was so good that if I made a CTA at the end, then that people would love it. And even if let's say your podcast is an hour long, you could do a podcast for an hour long and then be like, hey, I'd like to book 30 minutes of your time at a different date, and we can sit down and do this masterclass.
Yeah.
And what would even be better is here's another little, I guess, tidbit for your audience here, is if I were actually to do this, what I probably would do is say, okay, Ravi, I want to take an hour of your time, and then I want to do 30 minutes of your time 4 weeks after the podcast launches. And what we're going to do is when you drop the podcast, you're going to say, hey guys, Ravi talked a lot about the product suite inside of here. If you want to learn how to create your own product suite, Ravi agreed to sit down with me on June 30th, 2024 on a live call, break down his entire product suite, how he's doing it. He's going to answer any of your questions. And so if you want to make sure you get access to that training and the membership site, make sure you join before then. So now there's urgency that's involved in it because they want to join beforehand. And then you say, and if you want listen to this and it's after that time, don't worry, the recording is going to still be inside 100%. Of it, right? So now you're getting urgency inside of it. It's a huge value add because I'm telling you that this is the same thing inside my $15,000 product that they're going to get as part of your stuff, plus all the other stuff that you have inside your membership site. So at that point, it's like, why would they? And then you have, let's say, a 15-day money-back guarantee on your membership site, and it's only $97 a month. It's like, why would they not pull the trigger at that point?
You got to do me a favor. Put your hand like this and put your other hand, because you cooking, bro. My man's cooking right now, bro. That's crazy. Listen, that's genius, because now, again, you're booking with intention. Right, you're no longer just creating just to create.
Yep.
You're no longer just shooting a podcast, just shoot a podcast. How do we monetize this thing? How do I pay for the production? Because that's one of the reasons why a lot of podcasters quit, because they go into it like, oh, this is fun, or content creators are going, this is going to be good, but then it comes down to the cost.
Yep.
So then you do a couple of shows, or you make a bunch of content. You're like, okay, well, it's not fun no more. Like, I'm renting out the studio, or I'm paying for this, paying for that, paying for the videographer, or whatever the case may be. I gotta bring some money in. Mm-hmm. And that's normally where a majority of people quit. I seen this video from Jesse Isler. I feel like he said 1 million, but it sounds like a lot. But he was like, on Apple podcasts is like, over 1 million podcasts that only have like one episode.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah,
bro, that's a lot of podcasts that just one episode and then just done.
It's like anything else. I mean, you do the same thing on YouTube. I'm curious how many YouTube channels have one.
That's a fact.
How many YouTube channels have one video? How many YouTube channels have less than 100 views on a video? Like, it's like people start, they give up for a dozen different reasons. I was also thinking another thing that this is probably going to affect is who you're booking on your podcast. You know what I mean? Like, so instead of just this like hodgepodge random thing that you're going to do if you're doing some kind of podcast, you're going to be intentional. And maybe if you were to reach out to me and you're going to say, hey, Ravi, I want to book you, but I need 30 more minutes of your time. Yeah. And maybe I was like, okay, it charges for 30 minutes. If you technically didn't want to pay for it, you could say, you know what, I appreciate that. I respect that you're charging for your time, but it's all good. I'm going to go find somebody else, because now you know that you're only going to get paid if you get that 30-minute segment at the end of it, right? But technically speaking, I might have agreed to it because you also have a good size audience. And so that's an opportunity for me. And really me going deeper inside of and this is how I would position it, right? If I were to pitch this if I was Ravi pitching to Ravi, I'd be like, look, this podcast, we get this many monthly views, this many downloads. You're going to get awesome exposure from that. But you and I both know we can only go kind of service level with that. I know you like to go deeper. So if we do 30 more minutes where you can go deeper, I'm going to put this inside my paid community. You can make a call to action inside of there. It's going to live evergreen. And so instead of just a bunch of people that are watching it for free, now you're going to be people that are already paying money. So they're buyers. They're going to be watching you and see even more that you know exactly what you're talking about. And now they have a higher chance of buying whatever your products or services are.
And then what if we do this too? Because I'm listening to what you're saying, but I'm like, okay.
We're just building a business on this podcast, right?
right. So, okay, what if we do this? The same concept you got, right? And this can go with any person. Let's say the guest does have some motion, right? You can say, hey, listen, same thing, make content. We'll book 30 minutes out. 30 days out, but let's do a referral. Let's do 50%. So everyone that purchases into it using code Ravi,
boom,
right? Boom. Now we got a rev share.
I like that.
Evergreen rev share.
Yeah.
Right. So now it's the evergreen rev share. You could do the next 50 podcasts after that, but this episode still making money together. And now we got 50% going to you and 50% going to me. And then we just build something together. And it's, you nailed it. And it's actually great because now I'm more incentivized to actually hit my email list of 200,000 people 100%. And tell them. It's funny. The reason why this kind of came to me too is we do, in our membership site, we have something called the expert event every month. And I do exactly that. I choose somebody who's not only an expert, but they have a huge audience. I have them come in and create a class and then teach that class
like do a day where they do Q&A. So there's all these elements inside of there. There's urgency because they're speaking on a certain day. People that are inside of my membership get all this different content that I don't have to create on my own. And then also I only choose people that have huge audiences, and I use a great little plug for everybody else here. I'm not affiliated, but there's something called First Promoter. It's a software that allows you to essentially create affiliate links.
Gotcha.
So I say, hey, use the affiliate link, Bob or Sam, and you can send this to your list and you'll get 50% commit. And the nice thing about membership sites is if you're really trying to spice things up, you can tell the person, hey, I'm going to give you 50% recurring commission. So if you do
that's what I'm saying.
So yeah, so literally it's like you do this one time and you can add an extra $3, $5, $10, $15,000 a month with doing an hour and a half of your time total.
Bro, listen, you're cooking right here. So with that, that's like next level. So now as a creator, you not only do you understand, okay, I'm gonna go into this content with some intention. I'm going to this podcast with some intention. There's at least 2 products that I can create. I'm gonna bring this guest on. I have my membership. I have 2 different ways at minimum that I can not only monetize the podcast, but monetize the guest, the relationship. We can make money together, which is gonna ingratiate yourself with the guest.
Yes.
And then maybe the guest will come back for free or jump in the community for free. Y'all can build something later. Maybe the revenue that you generate from that, y'all can put an event on. You know what I mean? And now you're co-headlining with the guests that you have. And you could do that with multiple guests. Like literally every guest you have, you can have some type of rev share split with them on a product you create specifically for that show. Man, that's wild.
It's interesting to me because you and I are jamming here and like all of these ideas are really great. One of the biggest mistakes that I made a year ago in my business, so I forgot who, but somebody once said, you always need to be building 2 businesses, the business you have today and the business of the future.
Damn.
I made
like that.
quite a bit of money, relatively speaking, in my life to where I was before, always building the business of today. I was just like, okay, I need to focus on today. And that's also the difference between a tactician and a strategist, right? So a tactician is typically what's happening right now. A strategist is like looking at the entire playing field. A tactician is the battle. A strategist is the war. And so most people, content creators, business owners, whoever, they focus so much on like this podcast I have coming up. I need to create a video this week. I need to create a video next week. And it wasn't until I sat down and I actually was like, okay, cool. How can I blend this all together? And how do I be super intentional with every single piece of content I create, every single product I create, et cetera, et cetera. And so most people that are listening to this are having this aha moment, but you're probably gonna go right back to doing what you before, but really sit down and just like put 4 to 6 hours on your calendar and just be like, cool, let me take everything they just said, maybe listen to this podcast again. All right, how do I build this myself? How do I figure out how I know that because for me, I get so excited to make YouTube videos now because I know every YouTube video I make leads directly into our product suite.
No, 100%.
It's like, I know I'm making more money from all the videos. There's no guesswork. I'm not frustrated. I love making YouTube videos for that exact reason. But if I was just making YouTube videos with no idea how it plugs into the rest, I think that's really how you end up with like creator burnout.
I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I think what's very underrated is think time and journal time.
Yeah.
And whether your think time, maybe you have a combo think time, meaning like maybe you're on your motorcycle, right? So now you're thinking, but your mind's clear and you're working, but you're not doing your work. But then maybe you take a walk, maybe you have an hour dedicated or 2 hours dedicated where you just can sit down, maybe at the beach, maybe in the house, wherever, but you're able to let those ideas process, your subconscious come to the conscious and you just jot those down. You know what? One of the things I really like doing, I need to do it more, but I do it, right? And it's like when I have these ideas, I'll like do a voice recording, but I'll talk to myself in a voice recording.
Oh, nice.
And then I'll listen to myself back. Cause like nothing sweeter than, first of all, you hearing your name, but then you're gonna listen to you more than anyone else.
Yeah.
So even if you're regurgitating something that someone else heard and you may not do the thing because they said it, if you tell yourself to do it and then you play that back, you're more likely to have that information programmed in your mind and then take that action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that like for most people, I'm pretty obsessed with feedback and like feedback loops, which is, if nobody knows what a feedback loop is, it's essentially the idea that like you think you want to do something, so then you take the action to that thing, then you measure the result of taking that action, and then you think about doing it again or something else, right? So it's this like little loop. It's just like you do something, you figure out if you want to do it again, you do it again or not. And most people don't take enough time to analyze the feedback loops in their life. And so that's really why I started journaling like 6 years ago. So I've been journaling every single day for about 6 years. I know some people throw rocks at journaling. I'm not saying that everybody should do it. And I'm not even saying that I do the typical journaling where you're like writing about everything that's going on in your life. But mostly what I'm writing about is like I'm giving myself feedback on what I did yesterday, how it ended, how I felt, how I treated others. And even I do it, I'm so systemized with it that every Sunday I have an hour in my calendar. It's called a Ravi meeting.
And you going back on it?
Exactly. I have an agenda. So I literally do, first I review my calendar, then I review the tasks that I did last week. Or is there anything that I should be doing in the task that I'm not doing? Is there anything I'm doing that I shouldn't be doing? Then I review my journal and I see how did it go. And I find correlations with things inside of it. And that's actually the thing that eventually created, I have these 42 life principles that I live by. And so I know—
Is that a book?
So I read the book Principles by Ray Dalio, and then I created my own 42 principles that I've learned that are like, okay, cool. These are the things that I know to be true about myself and my life. And so
you created your own.
Exactly. And that way I don't have to think every time I want to make a decision. I was telling my girlfriend yesterday, my aunt who's from New York, she's in town, right? She's in Pompano Beach, and she wanted to have dinner, and I haven't seen her in a year. And it was pretty stressful to go to dinner with her because it was like during rush hour. It was a 2-hour trip up there. And someone who values her time as much as I do, it was like a lot of work. But I knew that it wasn't even an option because I wrote down in my journal, and I have on my principles that I'm a family man. I love spending time with family and investing with others. So I would be out of alignment with what I know. I'm always happiest when I'm spending time with quality people or I'm spending time with family members that give me energy. And so anyway, I'm going off a little bit of a tangent there, but the whole point of that being that I think that most people aren't sitting down and creating enough time to think, like literal time on their calendar to think and analyze feedback. And if you did, most people might do it for their content. If they listen to this, they may be sitting all this time on like, okay, did this content perform well? What are the analytics? What's the views? What's the click-through rate, et cetera, et cetera. But most people don't do that for their entire life. And so if you just set time aside, 20 minutes every day, then 1 hour every single Sunday, the leaps and bounds you could make in your personal and business life would be massive.
Got you, man. I think that's huge. And obviously with the journal thing, this last business I started, the future business. I literally just started this future business maybe 3 months ago. But that came from journaling.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? So I stand by that. And I really like that, to build a business for today while you're building a business. I like that a lot. I might have to.
It's not mine, so you can have it.
You're making what, like $1 million a month right now?
Yeah, we're a little bit above that. Yeah.
All right, so above $1 million a month. I want to say, can we do a little bit more strategy?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So I would love to get some, cause all right, you know how people always talk about 10K a day? Well, not 10K a day, 10K a month. Like that's the number. I want the number to be 100,000 a month for the viewers and listeners.
Okay.
Because I want them to think a little bit bigger. So before we get to that, what has helped you expand your mindset with like, making a little over $1 million a month being, not as massive as it would be? Because I feel like a lot of people, that would be hard for them to even fathom that they can make $1 million in a month, let alone in general. So I do want to help someone make 100,000 a month because that's $1 million. It's over $1 million. But what has helped you expand your mindset? And then let's kind of talk about that.
Yeah, I think that, whenever I talk about this kind of stuff, it's like a little bit difficult because I was at the DMV yesterday, and like, let me just say that I just felt grateful for my life based on
Florida DMV is the worst.
Yeah, based on the other people that were inside of there, I just was thinking like, wow, I like any problem I have right now pales in comparison to some of the stories I was hearing while I was sitting there. So like, sometimes it's a little bit of a disconnect with that kind of money and everyday people. I totally understand and recognize that. I think one of the biggest mindset shifts that I did is that, there's something that Naval Ravikant, he calls...
Naval Ravikant?
Yeah, okay. Naval. He has an amazing book called The Almanac, right? He's one of the best, I think, philosophers of our generation. He has a book called The Almanac. And He talks about the finite game and the infinite game.
The finite game and the infinite game.
Exactly. And so the finite game is what most people are playing in their lives. And that's usually what you're playing when you don't have enough money to be able to like think above and start to be a strategist. And so you're always thinking like, I need to work until $10,000 a month. I need to work to $100,000 a month. I need to date this person until I get married. I need to work out until I have a six-pack abs. So you're doing the thing to get this end result, right? And that's, in my opinion, a great way to get started, but it can lead to a very stressful life, right? In radical transparency, there's some months that we do less than $1 million a month, right? And before, when we were doing $1 million a month and I was playing the finite game, it was like if we went below that, I felt like a terrible person. I was a failure. How could I be giving advice if I wasn't doing this thing? Like I was really a personal attack on myself. And then when I read that book, I learned about the finite game, which was instead when you're just playing the game for the game itself. You're literally just doing
infinite game.
The infinite game. Did I say finite?
Yeah. You said
I'm
finite.
sorry.
Yeah.
The infinite game is when you're just playing the game for the game itself. It's infinite. You're just building a business because you love building businesses. You're just serving clients because you're serving clients. You're just making money because you love making money. You're just creating content because you love creating content. You're just dating this person because you love that person. You want to date them. You're just working out because you love the way that you feel when you work out. That's all that there is to the infinite game. And so when I switched around that, it was really funny because after I did that, I started putting less pressure on the decision-making frameworks that I was doing. And I was actually able to make more money. I definitely made more money when I started switching to the infinite game. And so I think there's nothing wrong with focusing on like the 10K, because it's always funny. It's like only when you make money can you be like, money doesn't matter. Money definitely does matter, right? And even Naval Ravikant talks about money solves money problems.
It does, yeah.
But when I was in 2022 at one of our masterminds, I did my first $1 million day. So we did $1 million in a day. And I remember my team going nuts, right? But I felt zero emotion. If anything, I actually felt really stressed because I knew we were going to have to deliver this service for all these clients that I just closed. And so like, I remember thinking I had come to this finite infinite game a little bit before that. I remember thinking how grateful I was that I didn't save my entire happiness and my entire end result for my life for that one moment of making, because I had up until that point, it was like, I want to make 10K a month so bad. And then I made 10K. I was like, okay, I need to make 100K a month so bad. And then it's like, I need to make $1 million a month. And so then when I did $1 million in a day, I remember thinking at that point, like, wow, thank God my entire life isn't around making $1 million a month, because there was no additional happiness that came to me with it. So people that are watching this right now and you're trying to hit this level, I think it's amazing. It's definitely great to have goals. But I think that if you remove your inputs from the outcome and you just do the things that you love to do and you give it your absolute best, how you do one thing is how you do everything. Ironically enough, a lot of those things that you really want, the six-pack abs, the marriage, the money, the $1 million a month, the $100,000 a month, will all end up coming anyway with a lot less stress.
But you missed one thing.
What's that?
You didn't share how you were able to expand the mind. Did you ever have any hiccups in that area?
In what
Like mindset? Because I feel like a lot of people kind of get stuck on like they can't think bigger. Was that ever a challenge for you, or were you always kind of like subconsciously in an infinite space where you didn't really have any boundaries?
Yeah, I guess it's a good question. I don't think that I was like always in that. I mean, I was like going to be a lawyer. I was working at a restaurant. I thought that like that was how you made money, and I didn't think you could make more than 200 grand a year, like unless you were a celebrity or an athlete or something like that. So I guess for me, what helped me expand my mind was probably getting around other people that were making more money. That was probably exactly what it was. Like the short of it is like, I was making $2,000 or $3,000 a month. I moved into a house with a few of my friends and we were all doing the same amount of money, but then one of us had our first $10,000 a month. And then it was like very easy to see that. And then I went to my first mastermind. I met somebody doing $100,000 a month, right? And then I went to a dinner and I met somebody doing $1 million a month. And then recently I had dinner with someone doing $1 billion. And so like all of a sudden you sit down next to this guy or this girl and you have this conversation with them and you're like, in my mind, I'm like, this person is literally no smarter than I am. Like they're really, and that's not an insult to that person, but I'm like, this person's not a unicorn. They're not magic. They're not this unbelievable thing. So as soon as you can see it, I think I was reading this study and it was like in certain neighborhoods, like crime-ridden neighborhoods, if there was a doctor and a lawyer that lived on that street, they had like a 30% higher chance of those people graduating college than if there wasn't a doctor and lawyer living on the street, because they got exposed to people that were doing that kind of stuff. So on a basic level, I think that was exactly what it was.
That's a great answer. Yeah. All right. Can we get a roadmap real quick?
Yeah.
Let's roadmap to 100K a month.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So give me the baseline though. Do we have content? Do we have a product? What are we at?
Well, let's kind of stay where we at. So we got content.
Okay.
So I'm a content creator, podcaster, whatever. So we got a membership site. We just made a digital product, right? So we have something, they're 2 low ticket products, right? So now what do we need to do to get us to the 100K?
And do we just keep those 2 low ticket? Can we add any high ticket?
No, we added.
We can add it?
Yeah, how we get there fast?
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So the fastest way that I would do it, personally, I'm an ads person, and ads is always the way to go. Mostly the reason why you're not making more money is because not enough people know who you are. I said at the very beginning of this. And so I would definitely allocate some kind of budget every single month to just getting new people to hear about my podcast, to get new people to hear about my YouTube channel. So we spend about $2,000 a day just getting people to see my YouTube channel that have never heard me.
So you need more eyes.
You need more eyes, top of funnel. No matter how good of a content creator, whatever, there's more people that don't know who you are. And what is going to happen is that a lot of times when content creators, podcasters, they engage into this business mode, they take their eyes off the ball of the content creation, getting more people, which is totally fine. But you need to make sure that you're filling up that bucket every single month, because if not, then you could have an up month and a down month. It's going to be impossible to scale. So I like ads because you can put you're trading time, or you're trading money for time. So you can put a budget, $100 a day, $50 a day, $1,000 a day, whatever you're comfortable with. And I would just focus on getting more people to whatever my main content channel was. So could be Instagram, could be Facebook, could be YouTube, could be
like
podcast.
An awareness
ads, top of funnel discovery ads. Like they're not even conversion ads. You're not even saying like buy my stuff.
Just look at me.
Just look at me. Hear me. If your content's that good, right? Then it's just look at my content and let the content do the talking, right? So we run $2,000 a day to top of funnel just to get people in there. Then in my content, as I was creating it, if I already had this low ticket product and membership site, I would start putting subtle calls to actions inside of there. So I would start intentionally figuring out, how do I drive people to there? Because if you just put it in the show notes or in the YouTube description, whatever else it is, you'll definitely have some people do it, but you do need to have a little bit more aggressive calls to action. So, but you can be super sly with it. So like I said earlier, you could be like, at the end of this podcast, you'd be like, hey, if you want this thing, it's inside this community, right? I would even maybe shoot the podcast, and in the middle of it, I would cut to me sitting here by myself and be like, hey, I have this membership site. I'm going to have this thing with Ravi in there in case people don't stay all the way to the end. So I would start weaving in calls to action into my content that I was creating, sending people to the membership site. And I would probably have that set up, and then I would focus on inside the membership site, obviously making sure it's valuable, people are staying, I'm engaging with them. I would get that settled and baseline until I was probably at like, let's say $5,000 to $15,000 a month in recurring revenue from the membership side.
All right, so that's about like 50 to 150 people.
Exactly.
If it's like $97,
if it's about $97 a month, yeah. So because that's good, because that gives you enough money that you can spend a little bit more money on ads. You can maybe hire a team member if you need to. Like you have enough of a baseline. A lot of people want to get to 100K a month, so they do every single step like from the very beginning, and then everything suffers. So I do think there's an order of operations. So let's say you're at 5 to 15K a month right now. It's recurring. You have a little bit of churn, but you're profitable. The content you're creating, knows is working. You could technically at this point stop and just put more money into ads, and that should just keep on. That you could eventually get to 100K a month just right there. But at $97 a month, it would be pretty difficult. It's not difficult. It would just take a while to get to $100,000.
That's like what, 1,000 people?
Yeah, roughly. Yeah, to get to if it's $97 a month. So in order to do that, like, I think that at this point, it makes sense to start looking at how can I sell something that's a little bit more expensive, right? How have I created this? I guess I skipped the very first step, which should have been the product suites.
Gotcha.
So now I know, okay, my free content, I'm covering this thing. They don't get any support. My membership site, I'm giving them a little bit more and they get a little bit of support. But what is the thing that I can sell for $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 that I can literally just make direct calls to action inside my membership site for people to book a call with me, one-on-one, speak with me, and I can sell this high ticket thing. So like I said before, it should be better, it should be faster, it should be cheaper, it should be more support. So instead of giving them like these 24 videos of you and I sitting down for 30 minutes, maybe the one-off thing could be a high ticket mastermind where they're able to, maybe it's an in-person mastermind, like you had said, an event, it's a mastermind where they can hang out with you more, something like that. And then you don't have to be salesy with it. If you've done this correctly at this point, a lot of people throw shade at personal brands, but like The good thing about personal brand is people will get on a sales call with you just to speak with you because they've watched your content, they're in your membership site, you're a little bit of a mini celebrity to them. So then you can offer a sales call with them, get in a call, and then offer them this high-ticket thing for $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. And that's when you really throw gas in the fire. That's when you can really start cashing it in. I mean, at $10,000, you just need 10 clients to come in. And if you have, let's say 500 or 150 people inside of there, to get 10% of those people to become a high ticket client, that's not hard at all. We usually see 5 to 10% ascension rate from a low ticket to a high ticket product. So like you can do those numbers to figure it out. I know you said that you like to show people the reverse. So like 5 to 10% ascension at this amount of per high ticket product. What would that be for the $100,000 a month? And then that's it. And then all you do is take that. Let's say you just sold 10 high ticket clients. You made $100,000 a month. What do? You don't sit there and go buy a motorcycle or a plane like Ravi does. You take that $90,000 of profit that you have, and you probably put, let's say you put $30,000 aside for the taxes because you got to pay Uncle Sam. But then the rest of it, you throw right back into the top of funnel ads. And that a lot of people miss that part there. And so now what you're doing is now you're speeding up the amount of people that are coming in that are paying your membership site. That's giving you more monthly recurring revenue. And then that's going to also increase the amount of people that are coming in your high ticket thing back there. And that you could follow that exact framework to go from 0 to 10 to 100 to, I'd even say, $1 million a month and beyond.
So we literally just help some people become millionaires right quick.
If they implement, let's hope so.
100K a month.
Yeah, let's hope so.
So 100K a month to do the 10K a month. Yeah. So couple quick questions I have for you, and thank you for that, man.
Yeah, of course.
And these are things you already talked about, but I just want you to share them on here, so you can go as deep or as shallow as you want. I know we're pressed for a little bit of time.
Sure.
So we talked about like calling selling before selling earlier. Can you talk about that, the 7-11-4 rule?
Yeah, so the 7-11-4 rule is a study that Google did after analyzing billions of data points. And essentially, they figured out that on average, it takes 7 hours of content exposure across 11 different touch points in 4 different locations to turn a stranger to a buyer. So 7 hours of content could be consuming YouTube videos of you across 4 different touch points could be, across 11 different touch points could be multiple YouTube videos of you. And then in 4 different locations could be like watching a YouTube video from you, then watching a podcast of you that you did on somebody else's channel. Then it could be reading about you on Trustpilot, and then it could be seeing something of you on Instagram. And so this combination of all these things, properties that you own, properties that web properties that other people own, all those together kind of combine into that person having enough trust with you to be able to buy your product or service.
What about new marketing, right? Because I heard you talk a lot about the content being like the new sales.
Sure.
Right. So what about that?
Yeah. So, I said this about a year ago, but we've turned YouTube really into being like my entire marketing department. So I used to have a 6-person marketing department. Now I have a 1-person marketing department.
And that person's you?
No, I have transparently speaking, I help that person. So it's probably 2 people, but I have a full-time marketing person and they all run the entire department, but they're not so much focused on like conversions and ads and calls and all this stuff. We're just focused on getting more people to watch our YouTube videos. If we can get more people to watch our YouTube videos, then we're going to make more money. Simple as that.
Yeah. That's huge. Cause I feel like, I mean, in my opinion, I feel like everyone needs a channel.
100%. If you're a business, because if you don't have a channel, your competitor is going to, and then they're going to. Another interesting study said that 70% of B2B buyers have made the decision of who they want to work with before they book the sales call. The problem is most people keep all of their best content and all their best information about who they are, what they do, what makes them different till after somebody books a sales call. So you have this huge discrepancy here. And so in reality, you need to put everything that makes you amazing and great and all the stuff that you can deliver on ahead of the sales call, so more people will make the mind that they want to work with you. And then the sales call is just like, let me figure out the specifics and make sure this works in my exact scenario.
So you have a lot of success, and you're doing like over 7 figures a month right now. What's like the next thing for you?
Yeah, so in full transparency, I dabbled into portfolio companies about a year and a half ago. So like we're doing over 7 figures a month with a blend of our portfolio companies. But I've kind of we've either killed off a few or potentially going to exit one of them soon. Because like what I've realized is that I don't think that I have the skill set yet to be running multiple companies. Like it's hard enough to run one company. And so I thought that I kind of had a little bit of hubris. I thought I could, because I was so good at running my business and other people's businesses, that I could definitely scale these companies online. So I thought that was going to be the play that I did. It may be the play that I do later on, but in full transparency, since I launched the membership site, I've never felt more confident in the amount of money that scaling with systems itself can generate, because now we're getting, I mean, within 90 days, we're almost at $100,000 a month MRR inside of our membership site. And I'm just putting every single dollar we make from that, I put right back into ads. Like, that's because I still have my high ticket sales coming in, and that's really the profit. And that's what I'm paying the team with and all that stuff. All that other stuff just goes right back into ads.
Gotcha.
So like, you know, our goal is to get to a $100 million company in the next 3 years. And so I didn't know if that was possible just doing high ticket, but now that I have this monthly recurring revenue coming in, I think that's the next step for us. And then I'm playing the infinite game, so I'd like to be a billionaire at some point in my life, but if it happens, it does. If it doesn't, I really could care less.
But you're doing the activities that can get you there.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just focused on the things I love to do, and then if that ends up with that, that's great. But I'm never gonna sacrifice what I enjoy, my character. I don't want to continuously sacrifice today for some future tomorrow. Like, I want to start enjoying my life now. So if it happens, that's amazing. I'm gonna put myself in opportunities for it to happen, but I'm not gonna sacrifice things or too many things.
Man, listen, this has been great. I got so much out of it. I know you guys got a lot out of it. I hope you're gonna actually do the things that Ravi talked about, because he literally just broke down how you can get to $1 million, 100K a month with low ticket products, and then just adding a high ticket product, man. So anything else that you want to share with the people? How can they get in contact with you? And I know you got that, you have the crazy membership.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So thanks for having me on. First of all, this was awesome. Great questions. If you guys are listening and you want to learn a little bit more about me, obviously I talked about a lot about my YouTube here. So I would check out my YouTube channel. It's at Ravi Abuvala, RAVIABUVALA. I'm also pretty active on my Instagram, same thing. And then if you want to look at our membership site, like you said, it's like everything we've learned going from 0 to 25 million. That's scalingschool.com. You can check it out there, or our parent company, scalingwithsystems.com.
Awesome, man. Listen, you guys have been another episode of the On the Pursuit podcast, hanging out with my guy, Ravi. I obviously, clearly, I'm gonna have to get a bike again. I'm gonna be moving out to Miami in a couple of months, so guess I need a bike, man.
Yeah.
But yo, this has been great. Make sure you guys share this podcast out with at least 3 people. Leave a comment below. What is one thing that you got from this that maybe spark something, or you're definitely going to implement? Leave that comment below, and we'll see you guys on the episode. Peace.